host, Oscar Chavez, and today I bring to you an incredible guest. She is one of the most high-performance business owners I've ever met. Her name is Cissy Ma, and she's worked on, she's the founder of and the CEO of growandsellyourbiz.com. She's worked in over $17 billion worth of transactions in over 20 industries since 1996, including the buyer side and the seller side as both principal and advisor in mergers and acquisitions. How are you going today, Cissy?
I'm good. Thank you. Thank you, Oscar. Thanks for the opportunity.
How was that intro?
That was really good. I have never, actually, this is the first time I've done a Facebook Live. So let's see what happens.
Yeah, let's see how it goes.
Yes.
Awesome. Well, thank you for joining me today, Cissy. I'm very grateful to have some of your time. I know how busy you are, but I wanted to take a step back. Every high performance person has this point in their life where they go, you know what, I'm going to dedicate my life. I'm going to dedicate my time, my resources, my energy to one particular thing. And you've chosen mergers and acquisitions. So Cissy, tell me, what was it? What was that light bulb moment in your life where you thought, you know what, mergers and acquisitions, that's me, I'm doing it?
Yes. Well, talk about, almost 20 years ago, when I started in Australia in corporate finance, and working for Queensland Treasury Corporation, actually started to work with some really large industry, some businesses that are, we're looking to help them with, acquiring businesses, etc. And one of the instances, I was actually thrown into deep into a transaction where I basically had to get up top of this transaction in the space of a week to put forward a proposal to actually bid for a particular business, about $300 million worth of that business. And on top of that, we were trying to get into a negotiation or joint venture with a Chinese counterpart as well. And so I was actually thrown in there to be not only the financial person, the strategy person, negotiation, as well as someone who understands the culture of our Chinese counterpart, the JV partner. So that really, it's like really intense and really very interesting experience. And I loved it. And that was like a couple of weeks. And then at the end, my partner from China, they really sort of believed in me, so that whatever I said, I did the presentation, we took it to the vendor, and they even dispensed with their own interpreter. They said, I trust you so much that I trust you to present our case. And so that's, that time that sort of made me feel that, yes, I can actually contribute. I can actually make a difference in that kind of transaction. And that's what, really brought that interest in me. And then from then on, like all sorts of transactions, I got involved, because what I've done there, other people in the organization heard about it. And when they have different transactions, they'll come to me. Yeah. And then about 3 years, so two years also ago, I was working for the largest Chinese accounting firm. And then I realized that a lot of clients came to us, but I couldn't help them because they were at a stage where their businesses are not, earning, let's say, a number of $10 million per annum. So a lot of businesses need the help to actually grow to $10 million per annum. But there are certain thresholds that the organizations are setting, basically say, well, I can't help you until you get there. It's a bit of a chicken and egg thing, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I decided that, yes, I want to help more people. A lot of businesses spoke to me and I felt like I could help them, but I couldn't because I was part of the organization. And that was the reason why I decided to actually start the business, Grow and Sell Your Biz. And
yeah, absolutely.
The rest is history.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it sounds like, to have a target of $300 million and a 1 week deadline, companies take 18 months sometimes to facilitate transactions of that nature. And I know from knowing you for a long time, there's been times where companies want to go and do some capital raising and they're waiting around for 6-12 months. Then they're not getting any results, but then Cissy Ma comes along and then a week later, some magic happens. What's your magic sauce, Cissy? How can people think differently about this process, because your mindset is obviously very different to the traditional approach because of your ability to get accelerated results.
Yes, I guess you need to basically step in the shoes of the opponent, the counterparty. So say if you were trying to buy a business, you got to think about what does the seller want, and as a buyer, you have your own conditions. And then when it comes to the seller side, you would need to actually look at the conditions that is really important for them, because what's important for them may not be as important for you. And in that case, you can offer something more to them. But what's important to you may not be important to the seller. So it's important to understand, what is important to each party, apart from price.
Yeah, I think
price is really important, but there are a lot of non-price situations.
Yeah, absolutely. And you almost have to be a great negotiator, because the thing that people do wrong is they think about their perspective. They think about what they want. But to be a great negotiator, you've got to put yourself in the shoes of the other individual to understand what's their motivation. What do they want? What is their BATNA, or best alternative to a negotiated outcome, right? And understanding that point, you can then facilitate a better negotiation. So for you, is it, do you deal transparently? What kind of tips can you give to the audience in order to get in the shoes of the other side?
Yeah, it's definitely important to be transparent, but obviously sometimes you would keep some juices to yourself, and show some stuff to the counterparty. So in the process, it's important to actually have the discussion to actually tease out what is important to the other person. So you kind of you can go into it knowing what is important. Because otherwise, if you just put forward what you think is important, then it probably will miss the mark. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And do you find that in large companies that mergers and acquisitions is a really good way to accelerate growth? Or what is what should business owners be thinking about when they're thinking they want to grow their empire?
Yes, I mean, there are, organic growth is great, but there are limits to organic growth. And in terms of, if you are a small business and if you're looking to grow, if you're using your own money, then, potentially there's limit to how fast you can grow. But if you're raising capital, you're getting others to help you grow, then there's certain inflection points where you basically get an injection of capital where you can just grow like 2 times, 3 times faster. But it has to make sense. If you were a business that's not really sort of good, easy, like even if someone's throw money at your business, it's not going to grow that fast, then it's not a business that is, sort of good for external capital. And you've got to, when someone is looking at your business, they want to see how their money is going to, how quickly it'll give them a return on investment, and how much the risk is, whether it's more likely to give them 2 times return, or is it more there's a huge risk and therefore it could be 4 times return, or 0, or even negative. And in that case, obviously the valuation of your business would be very much impacted.
Yeah.
Because it's all in the we say the beauty is in the eyes of the beholder. So whoever's looking at your business, they're looking at it from a perspective of, yes, you can sell them a really good story, but they will look at it from their own perspective. So it's like if you think the business is going to grow 5 times, and then they will, when they ask you the question, well, how can you grow 5 times? Who's going to work on these different aspects, and what are the risks, and where are you going to get the revenue, etc. And if you don't have a really good story and a convincing story to tell, then the likelihood of them believing in you is quite low. So therefore you won't be able to get the capital Yeah.
Yeah. So you mentioned something really crucial. And, we both work with a lot of different business owners. And the one thing, like sometimes I see business owners make the mistake that they jump out a little bit too early into their business. And they do it because of the fact that, investors really invest in people, right? They invest in people that they want to do business with. They invest in people that have a proven track record. And you also said it as well, like the individual. So who is it that someone has to become in order to attract other people's wealth? Like, what do we have to do as individuals to be the type of person that can attract other people's money?
Yes. That's a really good question. So I was actually talking to Tony, I think, Circuit. Oh, sorry, I can't really pronounce his surname. But anyway, he was an ex-VP of Yahoo, and have got his own business now, and started business and sold businesses and did invested in businesses, etc. And he was talking about the type of people they're looking for, which, like, I'm hearing so many investors talking about it, is like, you've got to be for as an entrepreneur, obviously you've got to be really sort of perseverance, like it's like a dog with a bone. You've got to be able to fail but stand up again and just keep on trying. But obviously you got to be solving a problem that is a real problem, rather than having a solution that's looking for a problem. And that's a lot of cases people think that they have a solution, this U-built app or whatever, but would people actually buy it? Whether it's really solving a problem or not, that is quite important. If it's if there's no real market for it, it doesn't matter how much I guess the entrepreneur think the market may be. Really, the proof has to be whether there's real customers for it, whether there's a real market for it. So I guess that's why a lot of cases, when you go for, there's angel investors and there's venture investors. Angel investors tend to go into a business, and then, at the pretty early stage where there's a great idea, where they think, oh yeah, they believe in your story, and maybe think that what you're saying, you are trying to solve a problem. If you have a story that basically says, well, I have, this is a real problem for me. For example, I had a client who's a pet cloud. I think you might have heard of it. The lady, the problem she had was basically she was an executive of Virgin, I think. And she couldn't find someone to look after her pet, a dog. At the time, this is a few years back, and now basically she built a platform because of that, because she couldn't find people to look after, no trusted people look after her dog. So that's a real problem that she had, and she's gone ahead and built a platform that basically can do that. And so that's the kind of thing that investors would invest in, like, RSPCA invested in it. I think Green Cross invested in it, and we have another investor we've just secured just before the COVID-19 broke out. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we've got a few people in the audience who are asking questions. So Giselle's asked a question, which
Sure.
I'll get to you in a second, Giselle. I'm going to string you on a little bit longer. You're going to have to keep watching. Paul, hey, good to see you. And Julie, thanks to see you. Good to see you. And Anna, good to see you. So everybody's tuning in. That's
excellent.
Awesome.
Thank you.
So we're talking about the topic of raising capital. So for people and mergers and acquisitions,
Mm-hmm.
but for people that kind of think to themselves, you know what, I've got a proven business model. I'm solving a real problem. Should I use capital or not? Like, how would I invest it? That's a complex process. Or what if I lose that money? Or how do I use that money as leverage? Like, how can you help a business owner get very clear on whether capital is a good idea for them or not?
You're talking about a business owner who's wanting some external capital to invest in the business.
Yes.
Yes. Yes, I guess the business owner needs to decide first how much control they're willing to give out. So
The control.
yes, how much control? Because a lot of business owners are a bit of a control freak.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? Because we think we know our business and we are the best at this business. And so if somebody else wants to invest in us, it's because we're the best. We can do, you know, whatever needs to be done in the business. And therefore we are doing the investors a favor to get them in the business, because, you know, we're going to go for a great ride, and they're just basically, the investors are coming on the ride, and, you know, we're doing them a favor. And a lot of investors think that way. But in fact, investors, there are plenty of opportunities out there. From an investor's perspective, I know a lot of the venture capital companies, for example, they are looking at investment opportunities every day. There's, you know, tens and you know, one of the VCs I know is called Investables, and they you know, they were looking at 3,000-4,000 deals per year. And it's like,
that is astronomical.
I know. So you really have to stand out to attract their attention. And you really have to basically, you know, in that situation, you could say, well, I like your capital, but I'm not going to give you the control. And in that case, you would look, you know, there would be some investors that wouldn't invest in you. So you basically make a conscious choice upfront to say, this is what I want for my business, and this is what I want the capital for. And then a lot of times the capital is not just dumb capital, because, you know, it's best, like, you want your investors seeing not just for their money. A lot of times they could be bringing you the network, they could be bringing you even the distribution network, or they could become one of your customers, which, you know, and a lot of times if you have a really big investor who's also a customer, that will actually help your business grow really quickly. So I guess the short of it is really just you need to know what you want. And then, you know, when you talk to your advisor or someone who can help you with the capital raising or getting a partner, then you basically, like, whenever I sort of ask, onboard a client, I always ask them, what is, you know, what is your ideal partner or ideal investor? Who do you want? What sort of people do you want? Because there are plenty of different types of investors out there. And you know, you got to target the right type of investor. This is like, you know, getting into a marriage. Like, you have to understand your partner. You have to understand them before, you know, you get in together. Otherwise, it's pretty ugly if it gets into a divorce later.
Yeah, absolutely. You want your partnerships to be long-term. That is what you want your partnerships to be. What is you know, if someone wants to look at acquiring some capital, what kind of percentage of the company should they be giving away in order to raise that capital?
It differs. Like, typically for a startup or scale up, you tend to give away, you know, like less than 20% for your first round, and and keep going, and you know, like a bit later you might get to just under 50% to give out. But, you know, obviously the later the round, you will actually get more money for it as well. You know, the initial rounds, you might only have get a few $100,000 or even or a couple of $1 million. And so the valuation of the business could range somewhere between, you know, $5 million to a $10 million, depending on whether you are in revenue or not. And you know, there are investors who would look at a business and say, well, you are not in revenue as yet. You've got a great concept. You've got a great beta, you know, this talking about technology type businesses. Yeah, we think what you do is good, but we don't think it'll grow as quickly as you think it will grow. Because, you know, client acquisition, customer acquisition takes money. And a lot of cases where with technology type investment, you do need quite a lot of marketing expense, advertising, and that kind of thing. And so, you know, you might think you won't take a lot, but if you want to grow really, you know, in terms of the scale, and you want the hockey stick, then you have to put in the money as well. So
Yeah, or the thing is, do you want a real business? Because I'm in the business of telling people if they don't have enough money to acquire a client, then they don't have a business. Because you need to be able to fuel that future growth through marketing, getting your brand awareness out there, letting people know who you are, what you do. It's just such a critical part of business. Now, you've mentioned a few times here, in terms of maybe somebody wants to sell, but they don't have a proven track record, or maybe their business isn't up to scratch. So where does Cissy Ma's mind go when somebody calls you and they say, look, I've got an opportunity here. I've got a really good business. But you know, I want to see if there's potential here to raise capital. And then you go into the business, and then what are the things that you're looking for because you want to fuel growth first, right? You want to boost up the value of the company by tweaking X, Y, Z. What is that magic in there that we can look at our businesses to boost the value of the business, even if we're not ready to sell, even if we're not ready to raise capital? This is the way we should be thinking. So help us think in the right way, Cissy.
Yeah, sure. I always say that, you know, revenue is the best source of financing. So if you can get clients, get revenue, then that would be the perfect way to go. And in some cases, even if you you know, you enter into a long-term contract or a short-term, long-term, it doesn't really matter. You enter into a number of contracts. The contracts could be valuable as well when you talk to potential investors, because they could say, yes, this is, you know, a contracted revenue is always better than, you know, if you don't have contract revenue. So first of all, you need, you know, if you don't have any revenue, it is really hard, and you have to pounce on many, many doors, hundreds of doors, to potentially get one person to go and help you with, you know, your idea. Because, you know, we always say 100% or 200% growth on nothing is still nothing, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so you've got to have a start point. The starting point is, you know, the first few customers is really, really important. So I think, you know, sometimes you might even go and go with, you know, very little revenue. So you don't actually like acquire customers first, and the customers sometimes may not be paying customers, but they, you know, obviously they give you endorsement, they give you testimonials, so that, you know, your business looks a bit more believable, you know, in terms of it's actually a real business rather than something that you're trying to drum up. And then when you get to real revenue, then the revenue is a matter of, you know, how quickly you're growing in the revenue. A month revenue grows. If you're seeing a business growing revenue like 20% per month, that is a good growth for startup type business. I know for your everyday, you know, kind of brick and mortar type business, it's really hard to grow 20% month on month. But with technology type business, that is actually quite possible. Some ones even like I know, you know, with telehealth, for example, in the last couple of months, the growth have been, you know, 50% or even more than that, or 100%, you know, because of the special situation.
Yeah, it is possible to grow a company that rapidly. When it is, you know, a small to medium enterprise, you can get astronomical growth. Once you're at the $1 billion mark, it's very hard to put those kinds of numbers on the board. But you know what? If you're getting 30% on a $1 billion company, that is very, very healthy growth, and they're doing a lot of things right. We're getting a lot of questions here on Facebook, Cissy. There's another one from Paul Johnson, which I'll hit you with in a second.
Right. Can I see it? I don't know.
Have a look at on your phone. It's like they're all streaming in.
Oh, where do I look?
No, look at me, Cissy. Look at me. I will tell you.
Sorry.
Oh, it started coming up here. Yeah. I know. I did that before, and it started playing in my ear. I'm like, what's going on? You mentioned something there. We talk about OPM, so other people's money.
Mm,
As an investor, the first thing I look at when acquiring a company is what's the customer list look like? Because
mm,
if they have a good customer list and the
yep.
customers are happy, you know your money is going to be returned in a very good way, because we're all after returns at the end of the day as investors. But you
Yeah.
alluded to something really important there, which is the best source of funding is through revenue. And
Mm.
so if people are thinking about raising capital, then does that mean that they should just be out selling and making their full-time job just selling and just bringing customers on? Is that what they should be doing, Cece?
Very much so, very much so. But there is a limit as well. If you go out, if you went out of your way and you brought in 100 million customers, but you can't service any of them, then that's going to be a huge problem, right?
Yeah.
Because you have to, you go and sell, then you should be able to service some of your clients. And there are some, people are a bit patient at sometimes, but they can't be waiting for you forever.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm going to hit you with a couple of audience questions now, because they're just, otherwise we're going to be here for the next hour if I don't start getting them off my plate. So let's answer them quickly, give them the 3-minute or 2-minute answer. So Giselle Santos Ramos says, I'm in life sciences commercialization. What's the investor's appetite out there? We have 3 major projects we're working on right now.
Yeah, life sciences is actually quite hot at the moment. If you look at what was invested over the last month or two, there has been a number of very large transactions. I think there were a couple of billion-dollar transactions. The difficulty with life sciences, it is very long gestation period. So people have to be really patient, and they need to understand the business as well. So there is a special type of investors. So there is definitely appetite there. But for early stage life science, it is really hard. So what you need to do is to actually, I guess, get to a point, get to some milestone that shows that there is, real promise, and there are, sort of different levels of regulatory approvals and things like that. Whenever you get to a level of regulatory approval, the value of the business will go up. And, obviously it's not easy, but, business is not easy. So
Yeah.
when you actually get there, the returns are humongous. Yeah.
That's the highlight of the day. Business is not easy, but it is simple, right, Cece?
Simple?
Is it simple?
Yeah, why not? No, nothing is simple. Yeah.
Nothing is simple.
But
No,
we
I
need
agree.
the thing is, when you present a case to potential investors, doesn't matter how complex you might be, you have to make it simple.
Yeah,
The art
absolutely.
is in making it simple.
Yeah, absolutely. The advice I give clients is you've got to make sure that it appeals to a 6-year-old. If you can make it appeal to a 6-year-old, you're onto some really good marketing strategies.
Very.
Paul Johnson asks, I'm not sure if this is in your space, Sissy, but I'll ask you anyway. What's the appetite of the Australian PE firms for the UK market investing in high-end properties and companies? He has dozens of deals on his desk right now.
Right. It is not in my foray, because I'm not actually a property type person, even though it's really interesting. I keep on coming, people keep on pitching me deals in the property area. I'm not sure about Australian PE appetite for UK assets. I think there are a lot of Australian property at the moment that are going on the cheap. So I know there's a few, for example, there's a particular commercial building that was before COVID, they were listing for $110 million. And a couple of weeks ago, someone pitched to me for $80 million. So 30%, more than 30 $30 million reduction just in the space of a few weeks. So yeah,
well, go for it. Sorry.
it's not a great time right now. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so my update in the UK is that the tax property, the tax law over there is much more cost effective. So they're taking into consideration the income of the asset as part of your as part of the strategy. And so if you invest in places like Australia, they don't really do that. Whereas in the UK and in New Zealand, they actually look at the asset value and the operating income that it brings in. So I would say it's a very good market right now. That was for Paul. Giselle says, "How do I meet investors?"
How do you meet investors? You can
Great
meet
question.
them right now. The
Hi,
only way,
Giselle.
I just said,
Hi.
the only way you can meet them right now is online.
Yeah. There's no handshaking, is there?
No, no. There are a lot of, LinkedIn, for example, is a really great place to do that. There are a lot of LinkedIn groups, like there is a private equity group, for example, and there is a venture capital group. There's a family office group. You can join the groups. Typically, you might have to answer some questions on joining, but you know, they're always welcoming. So if you just join those groups, and then you can start basically, once you join the group, you can put forward some value into the group, and people can notice you, and you can start talking to people that way then. But you know, in the past, you can meet investors in conferences, you can meet investors face to face, like with coffee. The best way is to meet with people with a warm introduction. And you know, I guess the question is, well, where do I get the warm introduction? Where do I get so you know, basically look for people like myself, or like, you know, I think Paul is one of those people as well. You know, Oscar has a lot of contacts as well. So you can just ask, well, I need this type of investor. Do you know anyone, you know, you might be able to help me with, or etc. But the, you know, getting someone to invest, or getting someone to, I guess, a joint venture with you is very much a numbers game. So you actually have to, you know, talk to lots of people to actually get a real interest. So you might actually come across a lot of rejections before you get to a yes. I got, you know, I'm now very thick-skinned. When people say no, I understand, you know, I go back straight to them to say, thank you very much for letting me know. And then I ask them why they said no. You know, I ask them, you know, a series of questions, 6 questions or something, to say, well, is it the industry that you're not interested? Is this a business model that you're not interested? Is it a management team, or what else? You know, timing, a lot of different questions. And sometimes they gave you the answer, and then, you know, well, next time I have another deal, I can go to this person because he's not interested in life sciences, but he's interested in education technology, for example. Then, you know, that's a type of thing that people like myself, or businesses that specialize in capital raising and M&A, we keep a live record of industry specific investor types. So if you were, you know, trying to raise capital yourself, you actually have to develop that list yourself, and it takes a lot of time.
Yeah, absolutely. So just to recap, Cissy here is the CEO and founder of growandsellyyourbiz.com. We've talked capital raising, we've talked mergers and acquisitions, we've talked the best source of funding is revenue, so go out and find clients. We've also covered that getting access to investors is really about your network. So go out there and believe in the fact that your network is your net worth. Talk to investors, just get out there and learn to hear no. And I know, Cissy, a lot of people struggle with no. And me, I've gotten to the point in my career where I almost love a no, because I'm not going to get yes every time, Cissy. So when someone says no to me, I'm like, well, good, because it means that next time I'm going to get my yes. Is that your mindset as well? Or how do you get into that mindset?
Definitely. I mean, I can't remember. Someone said that this no is one no closer to a yes.
Yeah, I love that. So you got to get through the nose. So
Right.
for those that are watching that want to grow and scale their businesses, it is about being more strategic, bringing the right clients on, getting the right revenue, getting the right business model, ensuring that you've got a product that people love, and it's all in the fundamentals. And Cissy, like we said in the beginning, has raised, $17.5 billion. So there is wealth out there to attract. So look, I'm going to thank you so much, Cissy, for your time. Is there anything that you wanted to share with the audience on how to contact you before we let you go?
Oh, well, you growandsellyourbiz.com. That's my website. And you can get me on Facebook, on LinkedIn. I'm quite active on LinkedIn. Or meetcissima.com. I think that's my personal website as well. If you have questions about, a specific your business, or if you wanted to find out if I know of a certain investor or something, just drop me a note. I always like to, I'll respond as quickly as I can. Yeah, and there's something else that I'm personally very passionate about, which is SHEEO, SHEEO. And so that is something, if, maybe check it out, SHEEO.world. It's basically, we call it radical generosity. So we're trying to change the world in a way to actually change the funding for female entrepreneurs, because currently there's only 3% funding, venture capital funding that went to female entrepreneurs in 2019.
3%.
Yes, I know. It's pretty abysmal number. So, SHEEO is trying to change that. And it's a small step at a time, but we want to change the world in the future. So join us and, see if you can support that cause.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that is a great cause as well. We need more female entrepreneurs, more heart-led female entrepreneurs that care about other people and care about making the world a better place. Because what else are we here for apart from leaving this place better than when we came? I think that's a pretty good cause. Yep. And I love what you're doing and helping women find their voice in this marketplace, helping female entrepreneurs find their voice and inspiring them to lift their game and to go out there and raise other people's money. I love it. And obviously to have a good business. It's not just about getting other people's money, but it is about having a great business model and having a product that solves problems. Cissy, is there anything that I should have asked you that I didn't?
No, I think you went through some really good questions, and very good, and a really good host, Oscar. Very good.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. Until next time, everybody, stay with me, Cissy, for a moment. I'm going to stop this stream. We will see you next time, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you. See you later.